Since 1969, Sesame Street has been teaching kids their ABCs. But along the way, it's also brushed shoulders with some of the most powerful people in America. From first ladies reading with Big Bird, to presidential motorcades driving down Sesame Street, to Mitt Romney accidentally turning Big Bird into a meme. This is the surprising story about how U.S. presidents and a big yellow bird keep crossing paths.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, what's all that cheering on your radio there?
Well, that's for the President of the United States. He just made an important speech.
He did?
Uh-huh.
The President of the United States? Wow, imagine being president. Hey, I'm President Bird. Gangway, I'm President Bird. In case no one gave you the word. President Bird, I'm President Bird.
The very first White House connection came in 1970. At a Christmas party for diplomats' children, First Lady Pat Nixon personally greeted Big Bird. Yep, Big Bird was shaking hands in the East Room of the White House just a year after his debut. From the very start, Big Bird was not just a television character. He was a feathered ambassador. This was actually broadcast on television, but I can't find any video of it. The show started out with Pat Nixon introducing Susan from Sesame Street. Susan said that Big Bird was lost in the White House and that if the audience would sing "If You're Happy and You Know It" and clap their hands, maybe Big Bird would hear that and come forward. And of course it worked. Big Bird showed up and hugged the president's wife. He returned for these diplomatic children's Christmas parties in 1976, 1978, and 1990. In January of 1981, Pat Nixon arranged to have a special tour of Sesame Street for her grandchildren, Jenny and Christopher. Now, the closest I could find with Nixon was that he met Jim Henson in 1959 when Richard Nixon was the Vice President of the United States. Henson met Nixon after Henson had just won the award for Best Local Entertainment for Sam and Friends. He says he looks puzzled in the picture because Nixon had just said to him, "I knew someone with a beard when I was in the Navy." There is a 1970s letter from Richard Nixon to Sesame Street that said, "The many children and families now benefiting from Sesame Street are participants in one of the most promising experiments in the history of that medium. The Children's Television Workshop certainly deserves the high praise it has been getting from young and old alike. This administration is committed to opening up opportunities for every youngster, particularly during his first 5 years of life, and is pleased to be amongst the sponsors of your distinguished program." There are no photos of Richard Nixon with Big Bird, but here's one of him with Figment at Epcot. And here's one with RoboCop.
Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble.
And here's a picture of him with Figment as RoboCop. Gerald Ford was only president for 3 years and never had an opportunity to hang out with Big Bird, but his wife Betty did at the Christmas party at the White House in 1976. Big Bird returned to the White House when Jimmy Carter was president. For the Christmas party in 1978, Kermit the Frog and Big Bird were there together. Rosalind Carter wrote a thank you letter to Jim Henson saying, "Dear Jim, the children's party was special. Thank you so much for coming to the White House with your creations and performing for us. Jimmy and I both send our best wishes to you and your family for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sincerely, Rosalind Carter." The message was clear. The president was running the country, but Big Bird was helping to raise the kids. As a matter of fact, in 1975, there was an episode of Sesame Street where Big Bird ran for president.
There's going to be another election, and I thought I would run for president.
Why don't we all pretend that you're president, okay?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, citizens.
A year later, Cookie Monster ran for
Tell
president.
them why they should vote for you, for Pete's sake.
Me no know why. I see. Okay, I gotcha. Me think me would be great president, so everybody vote for me. Okay, we get cooking now.
And then in 1979, probably the most surreal episode of Sesame Street of them all, the President of the United States was going to drive his motorcade right down Sesame Street.
Hey, gang, that's the President of the United States!
Hello there, Mr. President. And Welcome to our...
He's already gone.
I didn't even see him.
On the show, the presidency was rarely mentioned in the decades that followed until 2012, when Elmo imagined that he was president.
Hello?
Mr. President, this is the Pentagon.
During the Reagan years, Children's Television Workshop was working with the Reagan administration to put together a program called Big Bird Goes to Russia. The crew of Sesame Street went over to Russia and did scouting missions. They had a storyline where Big Bird was going to be helping to find a legendary Russian nesting doll, which is part of a story, a folktale in Russia. And the Reagan administration was working closely with them, and in 1985, Reagan even mentioned this at the Geneva summit.
And how about Soviet children watching Sesame Street? We've had educational and cultural exchanges for 25 years and are now close to completing a new agreement.
Unfortunately, the project never came to fruition. Here's an interesting one. In December of 1981, the cast of Sesame Street live performed at a Sesame Street themed Thanksgiving party at the White House. So this is not puppets. This was the full-bodied costumes that would perform on stage. There's also an interesting article where Carol Spinney says that all of the first ladies he met were very nice with one exception, Nancy Reagan. Carol Spinney said that he heard Nancy Reagan over the intercom saying that she wanted the Sesame Street crew to finish up their show and get off her property. Interestingly, no one can find any time during the Reagan presidency that Big Bird appeared at an Easter egg roll. I looked and looked for this picture. I couldn't find it. I did find this picture, which doesn't have any Sesame Street characters, but seems to have about every other character that has ever existed. We've got Snoopy as the Easter Bunny, Geoffrey the Giraffe, Huckleberry Hound, Quick Draw McGraw. We've got Annie and Daddy Warbucks. There's Little John and Robin Hood. There's Mickey Mouse, the Incredible Hulk. There's another picture that has them with Ronald McDonald, Rick the Raccoon from Shirt Tales, and a Smurf with the biggest giot you're ever going to see. On episode 2660, First Lady of the United States, Barbara Bush, appeared alongside Big Bird and the Count.
This is my friend, Mrs. Bush.
Hello, nice to see you again, Big Bird.
Oh, it's nice to see you too.
This was the first time a First Lady appeared on Sesame Street.
I love books. You love books too, don't you, Mrs. Bush?
You bet, very much.
It was in 1993 on episode 3136 that Hillary Clinton appeared alongside Rosita and Big Bird, giving some health tips to the kids.
If you want to be healthy and strong, you need to eat your fruits and vegetables.
Oh, vegetables.
And don't forget to get plenty of exercise.
Oh, yes. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Hillary Clinton also invited Big Bird and Alice Snuffleupagus to appear with her on the White House lawn in a plea to get more funding for PBS. Bill Clinton did a PSA with a Muppet named Cammy, who appeared on the African version of Sesame Street.
I like to talk to people about my school and my friends and my favorite things. And I also talk to them about HIV and AIDS.
Hillary Clinton appeared on the Rosie O'Donnell Show in 1997, and Rosie O'Donnell was pretty open about her love for the Muppets and Sesame Street. And during her interview, Oscar the Grouch showed up.
Oscar, I heard you were going to be on the show, and I spent a little time putting together some things for you. Oh, Oscar, I have some real honest trash from the White House.
Even Chelsea Clinton has done some appearances with the Muppets years after she left the White House as the first daughter. She had a daughter of her own named Charlotte, and she talked about it with Elmo.
I love reading to Charlotte.
Oh, really?
Yes. Do you have people who read to you?
Yes. Elmo's mommy and daddy.
Oh, you're very lucky, Elmo.
Just like her mother-in-law, Laura Bush also appeared on Sesame Street, this time in the year 2003.
Thank you for reading to us, Mrs. Bush.
Well, thank you for reading with me.
Could you read it to us again?
Oh, please.
Sure.
Laura Bush also recorded a PSA with Elmo that year, and it was to promote reading. But the kicker was the Christmas party in 2004 Elmo and Rosita were there with the First Lady and the President of the United States inside the White House.
And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows.
Now, the Obamas had probably the closest ties to Sesame Street of any first couple.
As someone who remembers fondly watching Sesame Street with my younger sister, and as a parent of two girls who learned a great deal while spending time with Elmo and Big Bird and all of their pals.
The president wished Sesame Street well on their 40th. Most first ladies take on kind of a pet project or a pet cause. And for Michelle Obama, that was healthy eating. And she tried to use her position as First Lady to encourage children to eat healthily. And one of the best ways to do that is to go on Sesame Street.
Are you First Lady Mrs. Michelle Obama?
I am Grover. Hi, how are you?
She also planned a vegetable garden with Elmo and Big Bird.
If you eat all of these healthy foods, you're going to grow up to be big and strong, just like me.
And me. Well, I'm still growing.
She also filmed some PSAs with Big Bird where he was in the White House.
It's important to get your body moving every single day to help keep you healthy.
Now I'm jumping to get moving.
Just find an activity that you like.
Donald Trump was actually parodied by Sesame Street going all the way back to 1988.
What's this? Ronald Crump in secret meetings with Oscar the Grouch?
At the time, Trump was a very successful and very famous builder, and they had a character on Sesame Street played by Joe Pesci called Ronald Grump. He was a developer who wanted to tear down Sesame Street and build a flashy condo. It's fitting that Joe Pesci played this part. They were both in Home Alone 2 together. In 2005, there was a Muppet Grouch character named Donald Grump. They did a whole parody of The Apprentice, which was a very popular show at the time. And they made fun of Trump's vanity as well as his harsh manner where he would always fire people on the show.
Here he comes! Who's got more trash than any of yous? Rump, rump, rump.
Across all appearances, the parodies were in good taste. They were funny for adults, but safe for kids. And they were all made over a decade before his first presidential run. But it's pretty clear that many of the people involved in the making of Sesame Street aren't fans of Donald Trump. And that's probably why Donald Trump hasn't rolled out the red carpet for Big Bird and Elmo. At least not yet. Now, in between the two Donald Trump terms, we had Joe Biden. Joe had already met the Sesame Street characters during his time as Vice President of the United States. And then during COVID, Joe teamed up with the Sesame Street characters to promote vaccines.
Well, I feel okay. My wing hurts a little bit, but that's okay.
And Jill had a Zoom call with Rosita.
I am so proud that we are friends.
Oh, thank you, Rosita. I'm proud to be your friend, too.
Jill Biden also appeared on Sesame Street in a sketch where she was going to Elmo's school to teach Elmo, Abby Cadabby, and Tamir about what jobs they could have when they grow up.
Looks like there's some sheep going to school today, too.
Oh, they're with me.
It's Dr. Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States.
President Biden also made a tweet about how shrinkflation was causing a lot of companies to take products like cookies and put them in smaller packages that we were still paying the same amount for.
I tell you who did notice, the Cookie Monster. He pointed out his cookies are getting smaller.
In 2024, the Sesame Workshop had to put out a statement when a rogue Elmo appeared at a Joe Biden rally. They said that this is not an officially licensed Elmo and that Elmo does not appear at campaign events. But interestingly, 12 years earlier, Sesame Street was at the center of the presidential campaign. Here's what went down in the 2012 presidential debate.
I like PBS. I love Big Bird. Actually like you too. But I'm not gonna keep on spending money on things to borrow money from China.
President Obama was able to take Mitt Romney's mention of Big Bird and use it to rally support on the campaign trail.
Somebody is finally getting tough on Big Bird. Rounding him up. Elmo's got to watch out too. Governor Romney plans to let Wall Street run wild again, but he's going to bring down the hammer on Sesame Street. It makes perfect sense.
Big Bird even appeared on Saturday Night Live to address the situation.
So, Big Bird, so how did you find out that your name had been mentioned in the debate?
Oh, I got a million tweets.
So you're on Twitter?
No, I'm a bird.
But beyond the jokes, there was a bigger point. PBS needed to modernize. In 2016, Sesame Street moved all their first-run episodes to HBO. This meant that kids whose family had a little more money were able to see the episodes first, and Sesame Street was able to expand their audience beyond PBS. This gave the show new funding and made them less dependent on federal funds. Whether on broadcast TV, streaming platforms like HBO, or in classrooms worldwide, Big Bird reminds us that imagination and education go hand in hand, and no administration or network can ever take that away. Big Bird belongs to every child that has ever watched Sesame Street.
Hi, Big Bird.
Hello.
It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
How have you been?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, you look great. Your feathers look very clean.
Hey, I want to tell you guys about Patreon. If you go over to the Patreon page for Pointless Nostalgia, you can sign up for free, see some bonus content. Also, if you bump it up to $3 a month, handwritten postcard from me to you every single month. And for $9, you can get on the mailing list, get the newsletter, and some extra goodies in the mail every single month. This is like those PBS pledge drives. I wish I had a tote bag to send you, but if you subscribe at the $9 level, you'll get the newsletter, and I'll put your name on the screen, and I'll read your name at the end of every video, just like Aaron Wester, Al, Archer, Carson Loveridge, Chris, Dana Snyder, M, Jason Evans, Jason Yealy, Jarrett Rusky, Jamie and Tom, Jen, Matthew Chapin, Mike and Jess, my big brother Rob, Nick Roche, and Robert Barry. Well, that's going to do it for this one. I loved this one. I loved this story. I loved looking up these clips. I absolutely adore all these moments. I hope you did too. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe. I'll see you next time.